Welcome back to The Rancher's Voice, the podcast where the heart of agriculture meets the pulse of today's industry. From policy changes to pressing issues, The Rancher's Voice dives into the stories that matter most to ag producers.
In each episode, we will cover topics including legislation, leadership, and the agricultural lifestyle. So be sure to subscribe to The Rancher's Voice everywhere podcasts are featured. If podcasts aren't your thing, watch us on the Montana Stock Growers YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the Capital Edition. I'm Ellie Brighton.
And I'm Rayleigh Honeycutt.
And we're here to give you an update on week 4 and kind of what we're looking forward to in week 5.
Yeah, this week was a nicer pace for us. The first part of the month was a little slower with the Senate kind of not hearing a lot of bills. And so this week felt like a more normal week for legislative session. We were in quite a few hearings, and it's looking like week 5 will be the same.
I was glad to have a week 4 that was kind of busy so that I know what week 5 is going to be like because you are going to be out of the state in San Antonio for National Cattlemen's Convention, so I'll be manning the fort by myself.
Yeah, this week I'm headed to San Antonio for NCBA's CattleCon, which is a great opportunity to engage with producers from around the country, as well as different associations. In addition to myself, I'll be traveling with our president, Leslie Robinson, first vice president, Turk Stovall, second vice president, Monty Lesh, as well as a few other board members. So excited to get down to San Antonio and work on some policy, as well as have a little bit of social time and networking.
Yeah, I think it'll be great. It's usually a very fun event. So as far as policy goes, what is NCBA's policy process? Kind of what's our timeline and how does policy work on a national level?
Yeah, so NCBA's flipped, for those familiar with Montana Stock Growers timing. So their annual business meeting actually happens in the summer. So this meeting is where we can hear some policy, but that becomes interim policy until that summer business meeting. But MSGA will be bringing forward policy. This policy is in response to our producer profitability initiative and the work we've done around that. And so excited to bring that to the agricultural committee.
Yeah. Can you explain a little bit more about what the policy is?
Yeah, so we really want to keep top of mind in the coming years that the importance of keeping agricultural land in production. And that goes to the whole theme that we've been working on over the last couple of years regarding producer profitability initiative and American livestock sustainability, food security, national security. And so the directive that we're bringing forward is really just a simple directive to ask NCBA to prioritize and put in their strategic plan that they're working on in the next couple years this concept of beginning producers or multifamily generational production operations, and the importance of them being able to keep working lands working.
So in addition to all the policy things you guys will be doing, there's some fun networking opportunities, sounds like.
Yeah, so in partnership with Robo Finance, we will be having a Montana Social. We do it every year. So all attendees that are in San Antonio for the convention are invited to join us for our social. It is Tuesday evening, starting at 7:30. Check your email. The details are there. But we usually have a really great crowd, 75, 80 people. And so that's the one time during CattleCon that we actually get to see all Montana people all in the same place at the same time. So that's always great for some fellowship and seeing Montana delegation. But then there's also opportunities. Our membership's also been invited to Idaho's social and some other socials as well. So lots of opportunity to have fellowship and talk and network with producers from around the country.
Well, it sounds like a great lineup of events and policy meetings.
Yeah, and we'll have more to report when we get back from San Antonio next week. So excited to head to San Antonio and looking forward to lots of opportunities there. Yeah. Speaking of opportunities, we have an opportunity to announce for some of our younger producers. And when I say younger, I think it's 45 or 50 or under, so you can be young at
defined young.
Yeah, you can be young at heart. But we just recently opened our YCC application process.
So YCC is the Young Cattlemen's Conference. It's where young cattlemen from across the country come together and tour some different important industry places and then do policy meetings in Washington, D.C. as well. So it is a great time to meet other people that are kind of in the same stage of life, same boat as you from around the country. States send individuals every year to this event. Montana sent 2 last year. But like Rayleigh said, we have applications open for those that are interested in doing that. So that conference starts May 29th and ends on June 6th of this year. And the applications are due on March 15th of this year if you're interested in going.
Yeah, I think anybody who's interested in learning more about the entire beef supply chain and all of the multiple facets that are involved with the beef industry, this is a great learning opportunity. Our past participants have always had rave reviews and great things to say about it. So I would encourage anybody to check that out who might be interested and apply for that. Also would be remiss if we didn't give a shout out to our Young Stock Growers group as well as the Montana Stock Growers Foundation for providing scholarships to help fund our attendees to head to YCC in that event. So check it out, and we hope that we see lots of applicants as we review those later in March.
So kind of switching gears, jumping to our legislative update. We just completed week 4. There was a lot going on. We spent, between the 2 of us, quite a bit of time in different appropriations committees. You spent a lot of time in a budget committee with DNRC.
Yeah, so the budget and appropriation side of thing is kind of not talked about as much as the policy side of the legislative session, but equally important. And so if you don't follow that closely, what happens is under House Bill 2, which is the budget of the state, there'll be sections that have subcommittees, and so Section A, B, C, etc. All of our natural resources agencies and transportation fall under Section C, and so we go into Section C quite a bit and chat and support agency budgets. So you earlier in January already went in to support the Department of Livestock's budget, and this week I was in Section C supporting DNRC's budget.
So in those budget hearings, kind of hear what's going on in the department, right? I mean, it's kind of a more in-depth update of the functionings of whatever department you're in for that appropriations hearing. Is that?
Yeah, typically the agency will kind of do a broad overview of the agency, their functionality, their roles and responsibilities, what they're statutorily required to do, and then what they do is have within the budget decision packages. So they'll have their base budget, which is kind of what they spent last year that they're asking for again, and then they'll have decision packages, which are new asks for this budget committee or the subcommittee to consider. And so we heard quite a few of those. Just to highlight a few, within the card division, we stood up and supported the Range Resources program. We interface with that program quite a bit.
Yes, we do.
For folks that are familiar, Stacy Barta is the lead for that program and does some really great work. One of the things that we highlighted in our testimony was the Working Lands Internship Program.
Yeah.
And I know that they're currently looking for ranches to participate in that.
Yeah. And as a young person that fairly recently graduated from college, I did not do an internship like that, but I think it would be super, super helpful for people that are interested in the industry and either from another state and or just don't know much about ranching. I think it's a great program, and I know that they are looking for host ranches in Montana for this coming year. So if you're interested in teaching someone about the industry, I think that's probably a great way to do it.
Yeah. Additionally, in the card division, Sage Grouse program is under that division budget. So we obviously stood up and again highlighted the top tier program that Montana has and how Montana's done so great with managing sage grouse as a state species. And then last but not least within the card division is the Montana Grass Commission and the great work that they do as it relates to grazing districts. So that was a fairly big bulk of what the division covered in that part of the budget hearing. And then we went into the Water Resources Division. Some really exciting things happening with water resources as part of the comprehensive water review and the WIPIC interim committee. A lot of their new asks were related to those two interim processes. And so stream gauges were a big one. Obviously, we have the state has an obligation to match some federal dollars for stream gauges, but also some state funding to help increase and add stream gauges to our system, which is always important, especially on those drought years. Then we also had a few decision packages we highlighted our support on regarding the Water Resources Information System, which is where people can go and use the query system to look at water rights. They're doing some updates as a result of an audit, and so we're asking for some additional dollars there for that database. And then we also talked a little bit about water storage, and there's a large water storage bill coming, but this is also some additional dollars to help with some state water projects, which I think water storage is going to be a continual theme throughout the session, so excited to kind of support those dollars. And then last but not least, we talked about fire and state trust lands and the good work that they've done this past fire season related to fire suppression. And then there were a couple decision packages regarding deferred maintenance too, and just trying to catch up on some of that deferred maintenance so that the equipment that they need is out on the ground and vehicles are bought and things like that that are needed so that they can deploy across the state through their state trust land and fire division. So appropriation hearings are always interesting because we're not speaking about policy, we're always speaking about like the budget or the fiscal note. So it is really interesting to kind of listen to those hearings because it's all about the money and obviously a different aspect, or you're looking through the bill in a different lens than you would from a policy committee meeting. On Monday, also, we testified on Senate Bill 221. This bill is by Senator Galt and was in regards to updating our MEPA policy within the state. This bill really is in response to the Held decision that was determined, or the decision rolled out by the Supreme Court at the end of the calendar year. And really, this bill just provides some sideboards and defines some of the assessments that DEQ will need to do related to greenhouse gases. So happy to stand in support. We don't typically comment a lot on MEPA, but this is really an important bill as it relates to that implementation of the Held decision.
And because of the Held decision, MEPA has been a big point of conversation this year in general, but especially at the session. So not surprised there's bills that we're engaging on here.
Yep. Water is also starting to drop quite a few bills, and so we've had a couple bills in both the Senate and the House. Last Monday, we testified on Senate Bill 178, which is in regards to temporary leases of water rights. This concept is not a new concept. Actually, in 2023, a bill was passed that has since sunsetted regarding temporary leasing and water rights. MSGA supported that concept back in 2023. Unfortunately, we weren't able to support this bill. One of the major concerns that we have is within this bill, there has been the removal of notice and objection for water right users. And so obviously that's a big concern for us. We also saw a huge increase in the amount of water that could be leased. So in 2013, the bill had 180 acre feet. This bill proposes 2,000 acre feet. And so while we hope to work with the bill sponsor and the proponents on maybe some amendments to make this bill work for everyone, in the first bill hearing, we did have to oppose it, unfortunately.
So in the water world still, we had Senate Bill 61, which is a bill by Butch Gillespie, revising the laws related to measuring stream flow. Basically, what it was doing was recodifying the importance of measuring stream flow and that it has to happen in the state, which is really important for producers, of course, as you guys know, but also to conservation groups, energy groups, all kinds of different people. So it was a very well-supported bill.
This was one of the few bills we've seen that's crossed chambers.
Yes.
And so it is in its second house, and excited to see some bills finally kind of transmitting between the two houses.
And then the next one was House Bill 256, which was brought forward by Ken Walsh, and it's the creation of a Montana Water Trust and Special Revenue Account. Basically what it does is it creates an investment account for the state of Montana to put money into water storage. which is something that people are very passionate about and it's something that's really important.
Yeah, this was a great bill that was a product of the Comprehensive Water Review working group, which I served on, and excited to see both support from Representative Walsh as it relates to bringing forward this policy, but also Governor Gianforte has put that $100 million into his budget, and so we have the executive support as well, and so excited to see this. Montana is definitely lagging behind other Western states as it relates to water storage and water infrastructure investment, and so this bill hearing had a lot of people from around the state coming in testifying about how important access to this funding will be for them and their local communities.
Yeah, massive support. And even from the, committee members, the questions that they were asking of the bill sponsor were very supportive. In fact, one of the committee members was like, is $100 million enough? Do we need more than $100 million? And so I thought that was great to see.
Yeah, and the answer is always yes. We can always use $100 million more. Awesome. Well, let's look at this week a little bit. I'll be out, but you will be hitting the ground running with budgets. Back to more budgets in Section C. We will have Fish, Wildlife, and Parks budget hearings, and so we'll be going in and monitoring and supporting their programming, but also have a lot of policy bills headed our way as well.
So Tuesday, today is House Bill 80, which is a bill brought forward by Representative Gregg, and it provides for cash lease only bidding for ag leases on state trust lands. You guys might remember this is something that we have already seen in the House, and now it's going to be in the Senate. So we will be going in to support that. Cleans things up, makes it easier for everyone. So.
Also, Senate Bill 209, we've actually gotten quite a few calls on this, and a lot of members are interested in this bill. MSGA will be opposing this bill as it is presented in the committee, but it is in regards to revising terms related to conservation easements. And so this bill proposes removing any type of perpetual easement term, only allowing conservation easements up to 40 years. MSGA has long had the position of private property rights and the ability for landowners to utilize any type of tool related to conservation easements and putting limits on terms and the uses that can be negotiated within those conservation easements, we feel eliminates or removes tools that landowners can use, and so we'll be opposing that bill.
And then we have House Bill 127, which revises laws related to the fire suppression account. So again, this is one of those bills we heard in the House. We're now hearing it in the Senate. And basically it just cleans up some statute on reporting for DNRC and of course relating to fire suppression.
And then Senate Bill 190, that bill also is a comp review product bill. This bill is going to, it proposes the allowing of waiver of adverse effects to happen as it relates to analyzing water permits. So this bill will bring back language that was previously in statute that has sunsetted during the Comprehensive Water Review meetings. We heard from folks that said that they would like that language back. So if somebody's going through the permitting process and there's someone who wants to waive their adverse effect, they have the ability to do that as that permit is being analyzed and issued. So we will be going in to support that language as well.
And there's a few other bills that we are currently reviewing that are coming up this week. So one of them is Senate Bill 235, revising landowner preference qualifications for elk license. And then Senate Bill 4, revising the taxation of home sites on certain ag property. And then finally, House Bill 27, which removes automatic agriculture classification for certain parcels.
So that's a recap of our week at the Capitol. Thank you for listening. Always remember to like and comment and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So that's it for now. Thank you for joining us, and we will talk to you soon.